Welcome to every fan of Attack on Titan that at least found this video. Today, we're talking about Chapter 91. And first off, let me just say that there has been another huge time skip. I know there was a time skip in Chapter 90 as well from 1 year, taking us, I think, to 851 or somewhere around there. Now, it is officially 854, age 854. And it seems that our heroes aren't the only ones who have been changing throughout the time. The Marleyan government has also been thrown into another war against who exactly we're not entirely sure, but at least these people know about the Eldians and the Titans, and know enough about them to create an anti-Titan gun. Now, based off of the dialogue from the few soldiers on the opposing side that we know of, it doesn't seem like they are Eldians either. So it proves that there is a much bigger world out there. And speaking of a much bigger world, the trench warfare shown in this chapter does show reminiscence of World War I, which is a nice little touch. But since we don't get to see our heroes, we get to see the equivalents of our heroes in the, I guess the opposing side. Can't really call them antagonists just yet. But then again, if you think about it, could we really call Reiner an antagonist? Yes, we could. So we can call these guys antagonists. In other words, these soldiers, Gabby, Falcon, or was it Falco? Falco, Colt, Gilliard, and Piek, and whoever the other unnamed ones were, are made up of the cadets that are Eldians who are, candidates for Titan shifters, except for Gilliard and Piek, who already have Titan shifter abilities. And Falco, or at least I think it was Falco, or was it Colt? I think it was Colt. Colt told us, I'll leave that word to you. But now we know that there are two other Titan powers, the jaw and the cart. The cart confuses me, but at least we can tell, based off of his dialogue, saying the names of these Titan shifters, Gilliard and Piek, we can guess, due to the fact that Gilliard does make an appearance at the end of the chapter, as what we can assume is the jaw Titan, that Gilliard is the jaw Titan, obviously, and Piek is the cart Titan. Could the cart Titan perhaps be the intelligent one that we saw that saved Reiner back in the day? Maybe, we don't know. It would make sense, actually, but we'll have to see, because not all of the Titan shifters look like Titan shifters per se. For example, Ymir's Titan shifter appearance looks like a regular tiny-ass Titan. So it goes to show that, looks can be deceiving. They don't have to look extra special to be Titan shifters. They just have to be Titan shifters. But in the very end, all that truly matters is the fact that, we don't see any of our heroes this chapter. We only know of the Marleyan side. We can see that they are creative, they're loyal, and that Gabby is basically a female Eren with a little bit of glee inside of her. I loved hearing her rebuttal against her captain in order to save the 800 Eldian soldiers he would have sent to their deaths. I mean, she obviously had a plan. He wasn't buying it. And when she was telling him how skilled she was, she also added cute in there. And then when he continued to refuse, she said, "Wow, the commander must love me so much if you'd rather save my life versus 800. He's like, "Alright, go." Like, he wasn't having any of that shit. I mean, that honestly, those kind of words would piss off a commanding officer, I'm assuming. But from what we can tell, there are many, many different ways to kill Titan shifters now. For example, back in the start of this series, the cannonballs weren't exactly a bad idea. Make them into anti-tank piercing rounds, or the equivalents of them, add them into some heavy artillery that makes cannons look like baby shit, and boom, you've got something that can one-hit kill a Titan Shifter. Because you don't really have to cut their napes, you just have to really blow it to smithereens with a very, very, concentrated attack. Of course, as Reiner showed us in the previous arc, there are still some neurological defenses against such attacks, which are very, very painful, I'd assume, and pretty risky. But nonetheless, it's still a huge threat to all the Titan Shifters. Hopefully we'll get to see more of this weaponry play hand in our, in our heroes. So, the world is largely expanding. I think, I can't remember exactly, but I'm nearly 100% sure that there were only 2 or so Titans left we had to identify power-wise. Maybe there's one more left? I don't have the exact number in front of me. I spent most of my research time looking at, the time it takes for one plot to reach the other. Like, for example, how long has it been since the very start of the prologue of the series, when the walls were first brought down? You know why I'm bringing that up? Because these cadets, one of them, will be the inheritor of the Armored Titan. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Gabby, but Falco seems like another stereotypical choice for it. But Gabby is making a real Eren-like statement. She's literally mirroring Eren's "I will kill all Titans" from earlier on. But hers is a little bit more sound. Yet, of course, since we've spent so long on the opposing side of, our protagonist's side, we can't 100% sympathize with her. But at the same time, it is true that one way or another, the Eldians on Paradis are not exactly lined up with the Eldians in the Marleyan ghetto. Because, yes, they have been living in their walls, mostly in peace. I mean, at least until they tried to bring down the walls on them. But that wasn't their fault. So, and of course we're not entirely sure what to think of the Marleyan side either. Because as much as I want to think of the Marleyans as big bads, the Marleyan commander did show off some racism, obviously, but I felt that was more through his aide than him. As much as he wasn't exactly fond of being accused of loving his Eldian subordinate, he wasn't exactly hesitant to allow her to take off her armband, which, as we know from Grisha's flashbacks, is actually very, very serious. And speaking of very serious, she also pulled another serious crime coupled with that, which was an international law of war, which is something I think we have in the real world too. Like, can't use certain weapons, like chemical scrap and shit. Like, war does have rules. You'd be surprised, but it does. And it seems like the Attack on Titan world is not exactly exempt from that rule of having rules. Because the soldier cannot, hide themselves as a citizen. But as long as those opposing soldiers die and leave no witnesses, which they did die. Spoilers. No, I'm kidding, there's no spoilers. If you've read the chapter, that's why you're here. But regardless, yes, there are rules to war. They can break them as long as they don't leave any witnesses, but they should be followed, Although I'm not entirely sure how those rules would be implemented entirely, but whatever. If anything, it would only be implemented on the side that loses in the end, but yeah, it doesn't really matter. What does matter is that Reiner will be dying at some point soon, because it has been 9 years since he and Bertold first attacked Paradis. Give that another year or so, because I'm not sure how long it would take for them to travel from the Marleyan Kingdom to Paradis, and how long the walk from the ocean to the center of Paradis, where the walls are, would take. So give them approximately another year for them to have consumed their respective Titan and Shifter powers before even leaving the Marleyan Kingdom. A little bit of time for training with them, of course, as well. And you can see that there's only about 2 to 3 years left potentially, of REINER'S lifespan due to the curse of Ymir. In other words, REINER'S going to be dying soon. Now, I know that's a clock that's been ticking down for our heroes as well, in terms of Eren and now Armin, whose year has just been put down another 4, so he only has about 9 years left. But Eren is actually a little bit closer to REINER in terms of how many years he has left, maybe minus 4 or 3. That being said, one more time skip, and Eren might not be making it out alive in this series. Then again, considering the makeup of this series, I wouldn't be surprised if he died regardless. Matter of fact, I fully expect more than half of our heroes will die by the end. I wouldn't be surprised if Mikasa was the lone survivor. Or maybe Connie or Sasha. Oh, what are we kidding? One of those two are dying for sure. Or maybe John. But then again, John could be one of the first to die. It doesn't matter. All I'm saying is that most of them are going to die. And given the parallels in the Eldian cadets, I could honestly see, it being, our heroes versus them, and that's where most of the people die. But for now, it's the world as being built in this chapter, as well as our opponents in the upcoming arc. So, what do you guys think about this whole arc? What do you guys think about this chapter? What did you guys think about the introduction of new Titan Shifters? And speaking of Titan Shifters, I still have that Titan Shifter discussion upcoming, but I've been holding it off until further interest shows. So, I'll put a poll up in the top if you guys want me to release that sooner or later. Just saying. Until then, Smalls out.